It's not for him, the fiancé, so he tries to intercept, and then drama.
You are on Earth, and there is no cure for that.
Depth of the storyline, not present.
We don't have a book with us because somebody didn't take it. Hello everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of What's on Vienna, your immersive guide into sometimes overwhelming world of classical music and arts events in the city.
Well, hello from me also. September is here, full season is in swing, and there are lots of interesting activities as well as events that we are very excited to share with you today. I will start first. And my first selection for today is going to be, surprise, an opera by, this time, Gioachino Rossini. Now, this particular opera is not just rarely performed in Vienna, it's extremely rarely performed worldwide. It's his chamber opera, which is called Occasion Makes the Thief. Mm-hmm. And it is one of his 5 short one-act operas that are farces, which was a genre of semi-romantic, confusion-based, a little bit erotic one-act comic operas. And he had a commission.
Everything in there.
He had a standing commission from a theater in Venice that was specializing in these one-act operas. They were like just basically, I think in modern day analogy, like TV shows, I don't know, like almost a cheapish soap opera with the plot, but people loved them. They were like hugely popular, vastly attended by like simpler folk, not just like aristocracy, and so they were called farsas, farce, and this is number 4, so it tells you that he was very successful with them previously. Now, what is beautiful about this chamber opera, it's called kammer opera, short, very short, one-act opera, is that it is short and it is funny, but it has all of the usual traits of the style of Rossini. What are those? Virtuosity, beautiful and light music, but you can feel like there is substance and then there is challenge in it. Rossini, for me personally, happens to be probably, to be honest, my favorite operatic composer, or like really one of my favorites. I adore comic operas, opera buffas, and I adore his style. I adore the challenges, I adore the virtuosity that you have to have, I adore the orchestral parts and the, like ensemble numbers, right? Like more than 3 people singing together, 4, 5, 6 with funny lines. I just love these operas. And after a while, they, of course, become kind of similar. That's why I enjoy his style in general. This opera particularly, Rossini was notorious for being somewhat lazy. Okay? Really? Yes, somewhat lazy. And finishing his pieces at the last second. But with this particular opera, he was like extremely last minute and fast. So it took him 11 days to write this short opera. But it's not like a real opera, right? It's like just one act. But still, he wrote it in 11 days. But in this particular case, people held it against him. And at first, it was not as well received as the other works by him. And other of this short farces by him in Venice. And the reason for that is because the singers didn't have enough time to practice their parts and shine in full glory, and were, I guess, also upset with him, and so on. However, of all these 5 farce, this one was the most played and replayed in his lifetime. So in the end, it was still a big success. And then he did one more, and then his collaboration with this theater in Venice stopped. It's not the main theater, it's like some smaller theater. Now, afterwards, the opera was basically not performed. If you look through the performance history, there is like 5 or 6 or maybe 7 times that it was performed since its premiere. Yes. So they revived it for his 100th anniversary in Pesaro, which is birth anniversary, which was already late 19th century. So that was like revival. And then after that, they had like a handful of performances. I don't think it was ever performed in Vienna. And most of these performances were in Italy. so that it was performed in Naples, Venice, Pesaro, somewhere else, don't remember. And so now Vienna. So it's kind of a big deal. So for someone who likes Rossini very much and has never heard this opera and probably will never have a chance to hear it again, I think it's cool. It's funny. The storyline is extremely like absurd, but like, you know, this like a little bit of the comedic genre in the direction of Naked Gun, you know, like it's like so stupid that it becomes funny. Like there is like a confusion of two suitcases, you know, like so like one guy grabs the other's suitcase, opens, there is a portrait of his potential fiance, because back in the day, some of you may know this, I recently found out about this, recently meaning in the last couple of years, through a movie, that back in the day people would actually send portraits of like potential fiancés or actual fiancés, beautifully painted, to the other side, to at least see what the other person looks like in arranged marriages, and to like veto the person in case they really didn't like them. And it was like a very widespread practice. And so this whole opera is based on that premise that they like mix up their suitcases. One of them has a portrait of this fiance and he likes that girl, and it's not for him, the fiance, so he tries to intercept, and then drama. And yeah,
sounds like a lot of fun.
I will not give you any spoilers, but it's like stupid storyline with like ridiculous humor, but virtuosic lines, good orchestra playing, virtuose orchestra, short. So I'm definitely going because, like I said, I am a huge Rossini fan, adore Rossini, puts me always in a great mood, and potentially will never get a chance to hear this opera. Like so, although they were doing it more since the 90s than they had in the previous 150 years, plus probably I'm bad with math, of existence of this of this opera. So since 1991 or something, they had like 4 times they revived it, and it was done like 6 or 7 times total, so it's like became more popular. But I think, actually, speaking of that, this type of concise opera is very good. Like it has a lot of potential, because more and more people, or should I say less and less people, have the patience to listen to 5-hour operas with 1,500 intermissions in between. And of course there are some that have all of our respect and adoration, and you should get into this particular mood to go and listen to them. But what if you just want to go to opera and you don't have patience for a 3-hour program? I will be honest, I very often myself don't have the energy to go and listen to a 4-hour opera, or like a full 4-hour experience with intermission between. I don't always want to do that. So this is fantastic, this shorter operas of very high quality, because this is going to be a very high quality in terms of music and performance. Depth of the storyline, not present, but whatever. So I think it's really great. I think it's really cool. So yeah, my recommendation goes to this Rossini opera, and I don't know which day I will be going, but maybe we'll see each other there.
And this is the first Viennese production?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, exciting.
Yeah, I think so.
And another evening that we are looking forward to, also an one-act opera, but I think there are no 2 works that can't be more opposite than these 2 works.
But both short.
Exactly. So the only thing that they have in common is length of it.
That's a big thing.
Yeah, and that's a big thing. We can agree on that. Yeah. So it's an opera of György Kurtág, based on Samuel Beckett Fin de Partie. The work that one of the most famous quotes by Beckett are from is "You are on Earth, and there is no cure for that." He himself considered this work a masterpiece, perfect aesthetically.
He as in Beckett.
Beckett, although I'm a bit surprised that he would talk about this like that verbally, like openly, because he seemed quite shy in general. But but he said though, and he said that this is the most comprehensive work in terms of his artistic views on human existence. So Kurtág, a famous Hungarian composer, who is one of the most prominent composers in the world in the classical music, he is now 99 years old. This opera he wrote when he was 92. And his first opera, his only opera for now, it's based on the 2/3 of the Endgame, the English name of the work. Beckett translated by himself, because the original one is in French and the opera uses the French text. So Kurtág used the 2/3 of the work, and it's still an open question that he might finish it at some point. So it's
so it leaves us with a bit of suspense.
Exactly.
What is the view on human existence?
Kurtág said that was one of his strongest experiences in his life when he saw the play for the first time in 1957 in Paris. They left Hungary following the Hungarian uprising and moved to Paris with his wife, a very famous pianist who is a key figure in his creative life and normal life, and they shared marriage of 70 plus years until she died. And even when he was writing this opera, she was sitting next to him in order to support him and help him to work continuously, and he worked on that for 8 years.
Amazing.
2 of those he focused completely on the text. So he was working with the text, and then he started to write music. So in that period of time when he saw the play, in this work in 57, he had 2 years of severe depression. He had huge personal crisis, creative crisis. And he himself was very grateful and openly talked a lot about how an art psychologist, Martha Stein, I believe, but maybe the name, I'm mixing up the first name, how she helped him to come out of this crisis. And the first work he wrote after that was his quartet. He named Opus 1. Although, of course, he wrote a lot before, but so he considered it a new, fresh start, and it helped him a lot. So he started writing in 2010. The premiere of this work was in 2018 in Milano, and then it was staged in Paris in 2022. And the director of both of these productions is Pierre Audi, a very famous Lebanese-French director and intendant who unfortunately died this year in May, a key figure in the world of classical music. And he himself talked about how many times they changed the staging even between the Milano and Paris.
And what staging will be here? Do you happen to know?
I believe he's a German director, but we will see. We will go. I would want
because I saw on the website the videos. Of the production. Looks very cool, so I was wondering if
it is. There are some similarities, of course, because some kind of allusion to bunker. But I think that I hope we will manage to go to this performance, and we can talk about the staging and the storyline in the next episodes.
Yeah, it's pretty depressing, grim.
I mean, I think this quote already is quite about there is no cure.
It's not for the faint of heart, but it's
about journey ending, as Endgame the name suggests, and about death, of course, human existence, and all the existential questions. And
I have a non-existential question for you. Have you read any of the Samuel Beckett works?
Yes, some of them. Yes.
Yeah. How did you? Are you a fan? Do you enjoy? Not so much.
I can't say that I'm a huge fan, but I'm fascinated. I'm very interested. But first I saw the recordings of the play. First I didn't read.
I see.
And you?
No, I have not managed to find good approach to his writing ever.
I see.
And I've tried a couple of times in my life. It's a bit too much for me. It didn't work.
Yeah, maybe this will be your
maybe this
door
will open me for new possibilities and new horizons in depression.
Yeah.
So who knows?
I am honestly a bit surprised that Kurtág decided to use this text for his only opera until now, because Samuel Beckett, he was quite against about any musical adaptations of his work, because his language already quite musical. So it is interesting, but otherwise it seems, I have no idea, that they share a lot of similarities in their creative processes. The silence is very, very important for both of them. And Beckett, I believe he even wrote in the text that wait here for the actors, wait. As well as for Kurtág, also how they work, how Kurtág works with musicians and Beckett with the actors when he directed his works, like very precise, extremely detailed. I don't think there is any composer in the world who is more detailed than Kurtág.
And this is going to be a Viennese premiere.
It was first produced in 1924. So
here?
Yeah, in Vienna.
Okay.
So Viennese production, the Uraufführung premiere was last year. Okay. But obviously we didn't go and we didn't see it. We didn't manage the time. Okay. So now I hope it will happen. And and also both of them seem to be quite shy. Because there is a story that Kurtág was in Berlin at the same time as Samuel Beckett, and he didn't dare to meet him or talk to him because he couldn't think about any clever or intellectual questions he could ask. And the famous story about Samuel Beckett, how when he received his Nobel Prize, that was described by his wife as catastrophe because of everything related to the fame afterwards, that he agreed to interview, surprisingly, but on one condition, that he wouldn't talk in this interview. And there is this even famous video with him staring at the camera, which of course even more meaningful than it might have been more meaningful than even if he talked. So I'm very, very excited
so
about
anyway,
that.
Like you said, to sum up, the two operas have nothing in common except their relatively short length. So enjoy. And before I continue to the next event, I have something I would like to mention in passing because it fascinates me. And this is a Flohmarkt, meaning that you can buy used items from the Volksoper of Vienna that I like to bring up and talk about a lot. And so they are selling their costumes and like stage props, and I think Staatsoper also does that, right, from time to time.
I never saw it.
Or maybe they don't do. I've
seen
seen like some theaters. This is not a super uncommon thing to do, and you might think, why would I do that? And this is a beautiful question. Unless you are planning on attending any like masked balls, which can happen,
or sing along.
In
Volksoper that we mentioned in the previous podcast.
Like, if you ever go to masked balls, or actually even like, I don't know, like balls of different varieties, or if you want to have really unique - strange - unusual decorations in your house, this kind of Flohmarkt could be interesting. I have never been to one of those Flohmarkts. I am going to go because I want to see what's it about. I have no idea what the price range is, like what the choices are, and so on. The only thing I can say is that when I was a kid, back in the day in Tbilisi, you could rent costumes from the opera, and it was like a very fascinating experience, because for some reason, I have no idea why, it was very in fashion to have this masked balls. Or not masked, just like carnivals, like costume parties. I don't know. So people would come in different outfits, themed outfits, ongoing Halloween party, and so you needed costumes for that, and somehow the opera realized that they could monetize that, but very quickly they stopped it because you are not supposed to do that because the operatic costumes are supposedly very precious and expensive and people might not take great care of them, but for a while you could do that, and I remember even going and looking in the wardrobes.
Wow, yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, with my mom and her friend, and I don't know, I think that the possibility of actually claiming something and making it yours is cool, but I don't know, it might be also super expensive. I have no idea, or it might be terrible things. Yeah. But I thought I'd mention. But now moving on to the thing that
I have one more question. Yeah. What was, maybe you remember a costume from your childhood that I don't know, made a strong impression on you?
No strong impressions. No strong impressions.
Okay, we can move on.
Yeah, so what I want to talk about next is not a musical event per se, but it is yet again at operatic building at the State Opera, the Staatsoper. They have this series of talks, apparently, for a very elite circle of I guess they're huge donors, sponsors, whatever. It's even called elite members, right?
Oh, really?
I think so, yeah. Oh. Something extremely posh and fancy and for creme de la cremes, which they host once in a while. I don't know. I'm not elite member of the society, so I wouldn't know how often that happens. However, now this year, because it is an anniversary year of the opera reopening in 1955, the first talk of the season, is going to be public. So it is also for mere mortals like ourselves, and it is going to be hosted by two people. One of them, Susanna Zapke, musicologist, and I believe vice rector, right, of the Music and Arts University.
Yeah, I mean, at least matter. Anyway, for some time.
Yeah, very known professor, this talk will be also co-hosted by the art diplomat. I forgot the name. We will mention the name below. I don't remember. And this is going to be a talk about topics that are in general, this whole talks touch on the topics that are what is a Wunderkind? What is true Viennese sound? What is this? What is that? But in this case, they are going to talk about reopening of the opera, that it was not as unproblematic as we might have thought, that there were a lot of clouds on the horizon, that now it is obvious in retrospect, and sounds intriguing, but even if it wouldn't sound intriguing, just for the pure pleasure of being able to attend an otherwise unavailable Salongespräch, whatever, talk, I would be very seduced by that. I don't know how interesting it will be. I think it will be very interesting, and I'm not sure you could ask questions, but somehow it feels like this format would be open for questions from people. So in case you plan on going, I plan on going, I would prepare a question. Who knows, maybe you will ask something. Yeah, so I think it's in general interesting to have opportunity to go to these institutions. At least for me, it's fascinating, that do music or theater or whatever, and then do something else there. I don't know. I think it's funny. And so this is going to be probably a very short 1 hour event, so it will not take too much time, but I think it will be curious and interesting.
Yeah. Let's see. And do we have any more events to talk about?
I think that was it.
No. So then we can talk a tiny bit about the book presentation that we discussed last time. So we went there and maybe share some observations. We don't have a book with us because somebody didn't take it.
We would show you the book, except I took it and I started reading it and I did not bring it to today's meeting. But Hans Swarowsky, for those of you who did not watch or don't know, was a very important Viennese conductor, educator, and teacher of conducting, kind of like a founder of his own school, which took its roots in the so-called pure Viennese tradition, turning to Richard Strauss, turning to Gustav Mahler, and taking, not just inspiration, but like information actually from those people. So it would seem that what he says goes, although having started reading his book, there are moments where he just says something and you have to take his word. There is like no, how should I say, sources or just why. It's just like this.
But also, if I understand correctly, it's combination, right, of his, I don't know, letters, everything that his students wrote.
Yes, correct. That is a very good remark. This is not per se a book that he sat down and wrote. No, this is a collection of what
his
you said.
Comments,
of
basically.
His comments. So he doesn't always like give you a source for that, but most of the time it seems like the source is the almost folkloristic oral Viennese tradition of passing down this information from the composers themselves through the mouths of musicians and the orchestras and so on, down to the next generation, and then the next generation, and then the next generation. So this was the event at Musikverein Bramsaal, beautiful cozy hall, which was formatted a little bit strangely, in my opinion. Or did you want to describe how it was?
There is not so much to describe. Basically, the most important change in the description of the event, that Zubin Mehta, because of the health reasons, couldn't come to Vienna. He also had some concerts in Grafeneck and everywhere else, but he couldn't come. So instead of one Zubin Mehta, there were 6 or 7 of Swarowsky students. Yeah.
It was disappointing that Zubin Mehta wasn't there.
Yes, but I don't. I mean, it was very interesting also to hear different points of view from the. I don't know. It would be great if all of them were there, and of course I'm very much interested in what Zubin Mehta would have told, but I didn't feel that as such a how do you call it? Loss. Yeah.
Well, they read also a letter from him. And then they were sharing their personal souvenirs, anecdotes. We heard a couple of recordings. There were excerpts read from his interviews. And then there was discussion amongst the people themselves, the presenters, right?
Not so much of a discussion, but exchanging of anecdotes, I would say. The very first observation which was just a general observation, and for me personally was a bit funny that to reflect on how we are used. I am used already, although it was changing in my lifetime, to how I'm not used to not having any woman on the stage. It was
yes, first of all, not seeing women on stage, and also thank God this happened in our lifetime, at least in my lifetime, that a figure of a female conductor has become so normalized.
Yeah, absolutely.
So normalized, but it was not, and in the generation of this older gentleman, it was completely not acceptable, which is kind of horrifying to think about that.
But I mean, there is no judging of this particular event of this people. Of course, I mean, it's just observation about how time changed and how for better it changed, and how obvious some things became.
The times have changed, and this in how should I say it, internalized anti-female approach is also to be noticed in the book. And to be honest with you, I didn't start the book in the beginning because there was a particular chapter that I was very curious, based on what I was working on at that time myself, like practicing, learning pieces. I wanted to start with this particular chapter because I thought, this is very relevant and cool. And I start reading, and immediately, for absolutely no reason, he makes a disgusting, in my taste, little remark in parenthesis. saying that this term explained this way should be reserved for like, he doesn't say incompetent, but basically that's how it reads, female piano teachers.
Yeah.
This is really very offensive, completely unnecessary to I don't know what extent.
Exactly.
And so that put me off a little bit from the book, although the book is very good, but it was not a good start of my relationship with the book. Although, of course, you have to separate the extremely interesting, informative things that are there from this context. But he would have hated us being women performers.
I mean, we don't know how he would have been if he was. But you're right. Back then, he would. It doesn't matter. Like
the only world, so to speak, that women were allowed in at the time, like kind of as more or less equals, but also not really, was opera. Right?
But also
because they couldn't do without and then of course we have the huge name female artists who got reputation of being unbearable divas, partially because they were demanding equal pay, equal treatment. Yes. A lot of them have succeeded in this.
Basic respect.
A lot of them have succeeded in fighting for this, but at the cost of being labeled difficult, which is no news. This is like a typical thing.
Which still happens in our time. Yeah.
Of course, but the world of conducting, it's no secret for anyone in classical music that the people who earn the most money are the conductors, held out the longest to keep women away from money. But thankfully modern days are completely different. There is a number, still a low number, still there should be much more, of excellent female conductors doing a beautiful job. The discrimination is slowly going away, and in the younger generation of our colleagues, it
doesn't exist.
It is non-existent.
And it's so beautiful to see it. And it was just very. I just caught myself. Oh, it's very unusual, and I was like, oh, it's great that it's so unusual. But then you also think about all these pictures. Yeah, if you go just a tiny bit back in time, and all the like artists, musicians, and it just all the men.
But
in
it was
pictures,
almost
right?
like a setup for a joke, like 7 old white men walked on stage, But the book is good. The event was fine.
The book is amazing, and it's so much knowledge in it, and it's almost a crime that there is no English version of it.
This is a very good
for
point.
now it's not planned. So I mean, if you're a musician or music related and know German, I mean, it's
even
kind
if
of,
you
have
don't
to
know German, I would still buy the book because it's beautifully edited. It has a lot of examples from scores, and nowadays with like thousands of apps, okay, not thousands, maybe hundreds, you can take a photo and translate the text, even if it's a bit clumsy, you can still do that, and it's worth it. I think this is one of the few. I usually would never read a book like that, but if I didn't know German, I would be interested in getting the book and doing the Google Lens or whatever they're called translations with the thing.
Yeah, and basically after the event, I was first of all I was surprised that it's not just a tiny bit different edition, but basically the first book that was published in the 70s, it was 350 pages. This is a double the size, so there are like a lot of more. It's really a different kind of book. And few more things that I didn't know before that event, that he was the first to really dive into this more authentic performing of music of Mozart and before. And also, like, he was the pioneer in that field. And the second one, that he was the first to have a film production of an opera before Karajan. Not just a recording of the stage opera, but actually a movie. So but otherwise it was very nice. I enjoyed it quite a lot. Yeah,
that's true. Well, my tea is out and I'm out of topics. So we'll see you in the next episode.
Yeah, and all the links, of course, we will post down there, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you for watching. Please like, very important, subscribe.
And say hello if you see us at any of the events.
Absolutely. Thank you. Bye.